I'm on my way over to Schermerhorn, and we're going to look at Julie Anderson Dokkestuhl's beautiful flower garden. This is a nice day in mid-September, so this ought to be a very fun trip and a look at a beautiful garden.
First thing I do when I
Oh, by the way, this is Julie Anderson Dokkestuhl, who's going to show us the flowers today. So
yeah.
what are we looking at?
Well, this is all the buckets that I washed for my flowers for this week. So when
For the farmer's market.
For the farmer's market,
Yeah.
yeah. So before I go and start picking, I'll get everything cleaned and ready to go. Then I'll fill it with water, and I put some preservative in the water, and then I usually load up my four-wheeler and I go down and I, cut till it's full, and then everything goes in the house. And I'll work in the morning, and then I'll wait during the really hot part of the day and come back out later in the afternoon.
So what's in the preservative?
It's a commercial product called Floralife. I think it's a little bit, this isn't the original container obviously, but so, it gives it some, it helps prevent the water from getting funky, and it gives a little bit of food, nutrition to the flowers while they're sitting in the water.
I've heard of people putting in sugar.
Yeah, this probably has a sugar in it, and a bunch of other stuff. So
Okay, all right.
You could probably make a homemade batch. So you'd asked about my flower garden.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's just flowers.
Pretty much. I do put my onions and my garlic in there. But at one time when we first built here, Les's mom and dad's house was in this exact spot. Kind of raised beds, yes.
Wow.
I think I have 8 rows. They're about 50 to 56 feet long.
How did you decide how long to make them?
It depended on the wood that Les was, we were just using scrap wood that was up in the barn, and, I think 56 was, 7 boards of 8 feet, and kind of where the shade would hit the garden, so.
So you got partial shade, or is this full shade? Or full sun?
By 4 o'clock, it's full shade.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't mind because I enjoy coming down here and working.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, so all my rows are my planting rows are 18 inches wide. Except for this one, I needed a little more room, so I just doubled it, just to give me one more row of stuff, because it seemed like I always run out of sunflower space by the end of the planting period. So, being September already, things are starting to get a little tired.
Well, yeah.
But like
just like humans.
Sunflowers, I actually started planting probably the 1st of May, over in that row, and I've been cutting them out and cutting them as we go. And these were planted I think the 8th of July.
The ones down here?
Yes.
Yeah, so I had some late ones too. And
so that's my last crop. So
I had one that it was way over my head. It was huge. I mean, and then we got a windstorm and it went down.
Sure.
But they do grow pretty fast.
Yeah. And these are specifically pollenless sunflowers.
Really?
So that they don't stain people's tables.
Yeah,
make
they
a
have
mess.
a lot of pollen, don't they?
Some of them are single cuts, so once I cut them off, they'll be done. And then I have some others that are more of a bushing type that
that's what I've got. They've got several blossoms on them. Yeah, like
so
that.
They don't get as big, but they're really nice for working with flowers or for arrangements.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, sunflowers are really beautiful in an arrangement.
And I can see a lot that I need to be cutting, because once you start seeing the color in the sunflower, that's when I'll cut them. Even if it's like a Sunday or Monday or Tuesday, and they just go in the refrigerator until we have market. So like that one, you can see a little bit of yellow. That's ready to be cut.
Okay. Huh. So after you cut it and then put it in water, it comes out more.
Yeah, especially, I mean, it'll continue to open even in the refrigerator, but especially once we bring it out on Saturday, then
Yeah.
it will really start to open up.
Because you go to which farmer's market?
We go to the Independence Farmers Market, which is every Saturday from 9 to noon under the bridge shelter. So
Flowers are important and I guess popular item?
yes, very so. And we have a lot of very faithful customers. They come back, every week looking for some fresh flowers.
Well, that's nice.
And it's different every week. Something is new, blooming, different every week.
Yeah,
So
that's really nice. And your glads are really beautiful, all different colors.
yeah, and this is actually
Oh, look at this one.
this is actually my third crop.
Look at that is, oh, that one's
Yeah.
pretty too. Look at the color on that.
I planted
that's
the first
gorgeous.
ones, maybe the 1st of June, and then I planted like the middle of June, and then these were like the 1st of July, just to spread everything out.
Boy, there's nothing prettier than a glad.
Yeah, that is a really nice
Still.
color.
Hold still, camera.
And I
Oh.
try to plant every glad bulb that I have, because even though some are a lot smaller,
Yeah,
they're meant to be smaller, because some of these are just a smaller type glad. Once again, they're easier to work
Yeah.
with in an arrangement.
they're so easy. I
Yeah.
always think people that want to have a flower garden, but think, oh, they can't, they're not good enough gardener or whatever. Grow glads.
Yeah,
How easy
yeah.
are they? Put them
They're
in the ground.
easy to store for the winter.
Yeah.
They're not like dahlias that sometimes they'll
dahlias
come
are
back.
tough.
Yeah.
At least that's what I think.
Is it a big spider?
Oh yeah. Oh, isn't that a beauty? I don't know if he'll pick up on here or not. That is a beautiful garden spider. Wow.
Oh, she's huge, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
But here's like a smaller one, right? With
Yep,
the orange
yeah.
and green color. And even some of these paler colors, like this one with the
Yeah.
peach and the kind of a cream color. And you dig them all.
Yes, I'll dig everything up.
Yeah.
This whole first section was all my onions this year and everything. So things, as they get done, we pull them out. And sometimes we'll replant stuff. Like I got a new crop of onions down there and some
You had
green
onions
beans.
here first?
They were there first, yeah.
Oh.
And they're all done, except for the one I didn't pull there.
I see a big one there.
Yeah, that's a bunching onion. It's the only one I had, so I've just left it.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Because you can get onions in really early. Like,
Yeah, we plant them try to get them in the ground by probably middle of April.
yeah.
So, and the snow doesn't hurt them. This year was a very good year. They never really got snowed on. It was a nice spring for them for that.
Yeah, it was mild.
But I planted some from seed down here too, the 1st of July.
Yeah, I've never grown onions from seed, but people do it.
Yeah, this is a bunching onion also, and it's coming along.
Huh.
July 9th it says, so yeah, some of those are probably ready already to start taking them out of there.
I saw a guy at a farmer's market, big, beautiful onions, and he said that he had grown them from seed.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name. It was like Elise something. It was like
Oh.
somebody's name, but they were beautiful.
Yeah.
And he had just grown them from seed.
I've done that. I've started from seed, and it's easy to do.
Is it?
But the last few years we've just been buying them at Gathke's.
Uh-huh.
But now we'll have to start our own or find
Yeah.
another source.
So when do you start them? How early?
The onions, I would start them probably end of March, February, maybe
Okay.
even end of February. That way they're ready to go by early to mid-April.
Yeah. Well, I might try that this year.
Yeah.
It's something different. And there
Yeah.
are your beans.
Yeah, I think I got hit by a little bit of frost last weekend.
You are down here in the
yeah.
valley, aren't you?
This is the only plant that I saw any damage on. Even the dahlias, they don't show anything from the...
Well, these are beautiful dahlias. Wow. I like these white ones.
Yeah, those are new for me for this year, so I'm still getting used to those. I've had like these orange ones now for a few years.
That's a pretty color.
Yeah, unbelievably, this is 2 plants, 2 bulbs that went in the ground here, and you know, I've been picking and picking all summer.
I have a hard time getting the dahlias through the bulbs after I dig them.
Yeah.
In the winter, I have a real hard time. Maybe my basement is too dry. That's what I'm
Yeah,
wondering.
it could be. You know, and you look online, and there is 100 ways to preserve your dahlias. Some people wrap them in plastic, other newspaper, perlite.
I think the trick. Your mom had that storeroom.
cellar, yeah.
Had a root cellar that had like a sand floor.
Yeah.
And boy, was that the place to
Yes.
winter things. They
Yeah.
always came through beautifully.
Yes. Yes.
That's what I need, but I don't think my husband's going to dig up the floor and put
No.
in sand for me.
That's Leonard.
Hey, kitty. What's his name?
Leonard.
Leonard. Hey, Leonard.
Yeah.
Oh,
He spends his time between the barn and the garage.
is he a good mouser?
Yes.
Oh, good. That's what we need these
Yeah.
days.
You were asking, I think last week or something about
Yeah.
something the bees love. This is sea holly, and it's really done now because I've cut it all down because it gets up to here.
Holly.
Sea holly, yeah, it looks like a thistle almost.
It looks like rattlesnake master.
Yeah, and it might be a relation. But when this is in full bloom, this whole thing is just buzzing.
Wow.
There must be 10 or 12 different types of bees. And it gets really blue once
It's blue.
Yeah,
Okay.
even the stems. This shows a little bit of that, but even the stems get really blue.
And this is started from seed?
It's a perennial,
Oh.
but I did start it from seed. Yes.
So this is where it stays, right
Yes,
here?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sea holly.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that'd be fun to try.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for something new. Of course, that means that I'm running out of room in my
Exactly. That's
flower
why
bed.
I have to keep adding rows.
I know. I keep saying, no, I can't make it any bigger.
This is eucalyptus in front of
Yes,
us here.
it is.
Yeah, and we love this for the arrangements.
Yes. I'm trying to think of what this is called.
Yeah, I don't know what it's
It's a
proper
eucalyptus, but there's a name for it, like pennypacker or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, I think you're right.
I don't remember. But this, of course, doesn't make it through the winter, does it?
No, it does not.
No.
I did one year, instead of planting it in the ground, I planted it in a pot. And then I brought the pot in and it sat in my garage all winter. And then I planted it out that spring.
Did it
and
work?
It did well, yes.
Oh, it did. Oh, that's cool.
My garage I've got a heated floor in the garage, so it stays at, we can keep it at 40, 45 degrees.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
We do have eucalyptus on our property in Florida, but it was very cold sensitive. I mean, if it just got down even close to freezing, that was like, boom, that was it.
And did it die back to the ground?
Oh yeah, and it came back, but still, yeah, very sensitive. Now, what is this red stuff? I think I've seen this.
Yes, this is called Gomphrena.
Gomphrena.
Yeah.
I have never seen that, and
I've
it's
got a white
beautiful.
version over at the end of that bed there. So it probably has a few other colors, but these are the 3 major ones
Oh, I
that
think this is gorgeous.
we grow is the pink, the white, and the orange.
And this is an annual.
Annual, yes.
So you've got pink, kind of a
Hot pink, yeah.
hot pink, and then orange, and then white. Huh?
Yeah, the white is over at the end of that
Oh,
bed.
yeah. And is this a pollinator plant? It looks like the kind of thing pollinators would go after.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. How do they spell it?
Gomprena, Gomphrena.
Gomphrena. Boy, I
Yeah.
have to remember that. I really think that is pretty. It's like a little clover bud.
Yeah. And it dries really nicely.
Uh-huh.
I can show you, we have after last week's market, we took our corn, this is broom corn, and some Gomphrena and some of the status and made like a door swag.
Oh.
And it looks nice fresh, but it will dry nicely as well and just hang there all fall.
So when you say we, who is that besides you?
My sister Susan Pranjinsky and I sell these flowers under Farmhouse Flowers.
Uh-huh.
We like the name Farmhouse Flowers, but when we went to Facebook, there's hundreds of Farmhouse Flowers. So we had to hyphenate it with Anderson Sisters.
Okay.
So
Well, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah. This is straw flowers. They're struggling a little bit this year, but you know, this is a really nice dried flower too.
Straw flower,
yeah.
sure. And that's an annual?
Annual, yes.
Huh. It looks like it'd be a perennial.
Yeah, no.
Maybe it's real cold sensitive. And what is the small purple stuff here?
This is status.
Okay.
It's been a weird year for status. I don't know if they don't like the water or if it just hasn't been.
Lots of things didn't.
Yeah, if it hasn't been warm enough. Because the purple and the pinks aren't doing as well as, like, the whites have been so prolific this year, but the other colors have struggled.
But that's a famous cut flower.
It's a, yep, and it dries really nicely. So anything that we don't sell on Saturday, that is one of these things that dry nicely, we bundle and dry it, and then we have, you know, dried flowers to sell late in the season and early in the next season.
Well, that's pretty.
Yeah.
And this is the same thing.
Same
this is
thing,
status.
it's just white, yep.
It gets just a little tiny blossom, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A little folded blossom. And is this something pollinators will go to? Or is it too deep of a...
It might be. I can't say I see a lot of pollinators on it, but...
Because some flowers, the tube, I don't know, forgetting my biology days, is too deep. And some pollinators cannot get their tongue down in there to get to the nectar or the pollen. So, yeah, that's interesting.
My Rudbeckia, it really needs to have a haircut, but it looks so cool. The color is so nice. I've just left it. But it's been really nice for a cut flower, and it's got so many different varieties.
And then you got a mum coming up here, right? What color is that?
It's a red. I see a little one peeking down here. It's something that comes back every year.
Yeah.
It's been hardy enough to make it through, which is, you know, not always true with the mums.
No, but so yeah, sometimes, you know, if I buy them in the fall and then I plant them, sometimes one will actually make it through till, you know, come alive in spring, but lots of times they just don't.
And this one actually, if it doesn't get going, you know, the frost is going to, because they aren't as frost hardy as you'd think they would be.
No.
So sometimes it never even gets a chance to bloom because it does take so long to
I've got a yellow one that I think I've had since the mid-70s. You know, it just comes back and comes back. But yeah, Rudbeckia is beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're like little miniature sunflowers.
Yes. This
herbs,
is basil,
right?
yeah. One of the things we try to do is add some scent, because a lot of the flowers don't have smells.
Right.
So we try to add scent with basil, dill. We've got a lemon balm and mint, whatever, and some sage. So whatever we can find to add to the flowers to give it some scent. We like to do that.
Yeah, now what kind of basil? This is different. Mine is just green.
Yeah, it's called
purple.
a cinnamon basil.
Oh.
I mean, it has a very traditional smell still, but you know, we let it get tall and long because, you know, we want to be able to put it in our flower bouquets.
Yeah. Yeah, you just move it a little bit and I can smell it. It's wonderful. What have you got growing here? Pansies? Yeah,
well, this is there's just a baby one here. This was Nigella, which is, it actually seeded itself and pretty much overwintered. And so by the 1st of July, we were cutting this, and this is it gets these really nice pods on it. That's an old one.
Yeah. Nigella.
Yeah, and it kind of stayed green all winter out here last year where this was growing because, you know, it was such a mild winter last year.
Yeah, it was a strange winter. Now on this side, we're ignoring your lilies here.
Oh, yeah. I actually am thinking about taking them up.
They kind of like that every once in a while, don't they? If you dig them up and kind of break up the...
Yeah, because I think this is probably at least the 4th year that they've been in this spot. So,
What color are they?
well, I've got some orange and some really dark russets and lighter pink ones.
Yeah.
But we try to have perennials in addition to all the annuals because the perennials are usually ready sooner.
Yeah.
So we have flowers earlier than we would if we just had to rely on the annuals.
Now this is alyssum, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I had a flat of it, so I planted it everywhere. And it's got some really nice smell.
Yeah, you can smell some. You know, I always thought it was interesting that a lot of the flowers and plants, like in places that are really hot, like Florida, will have a scent.
Yeah.
And the ones up north don't as much.
Yeah.
Someone can tell me the reason, I'm sure.
This right here actually it's called Frosted Explosion.
It's not weeds?
No, it's not weeds. In fact, they tell you to start it in like little pots or plants and transplant it because otherwise it looks exactly like a weed.
Yeah.
But that's something that we try to do in addition to the flowers. We need what we call greens or filler. So we plant a lot of this as well and get creative with what we use for fillers.
Now does it reseed?
It will easily reseed itself. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I find it up in my rocks and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Doesn't stay put, huh?
Yeah.
But now you've got more sunflowers here.
Yeah, like I said, they started here at the beginning of the season, and as they get done, I cut them out and just keep. And I try to plant sunflowers every week to 10 days during, starting the 1st of May through middle of July.
Yeah.
So I always have a little bit of something.
Do you have the red ones?
I do have some red ones.
Yeah.
Here's one that I've cut.
They are pretty.
Yeah, this one's kind of weird looking, but there is a few more down there.
Yeah. Now, this must be what?
This is a mint. Just a regular mint like you'd use in a mojito or something.
Yeah.
But we use it for filler once again, and that's a lemon balm. So just stuff that fills out our bouquets and gives it smells.
Sure. That's really pretty. And then you've got the yarrow.
Yep, and that all had a haircut once it got done, and these are a couple that were a little late blooming.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, my son, who is not a flower gardener, has some yarrow. I couldn't believe it. It's about 3 feet tall.
Yeah.
And wide. I don't know. He did something right for it this year because it just went
I
to
cut it
town.
all down because it was just going everywhere, and
yeah, it is pretty though.
the bees really seem to like this
Yes, they do.
sedum.
Yeah, well, you got some bumblebees working away here.
Yeah. I've always had flowers, the perennials, out of my flower garden. This was supposed to be all annuals, but I have so much deer, as you can see by my deer fence.
Yeah.
That if I don't have it in here, I don't get it. They get it before I do.
Yeah. If I didn't have my dog, I would not have any flowers, I can tell you that. Oh, there's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's working away there, too.
Yeah.
Huh? Those bumblebees, they're so gentle. You could practically pet them if you want to.
A lot of mornings when I'm cutting my zinnias, there'll be one sleeping, especially later in the fall like this, and so I just work around
Look
them.
at them. It's getting right, and these are the foxgloves, right?
Yeah, yes.
I love foxgloves, and they are not easy to grow, though, at least for me. What are they like, the full sun or partial?
I think they get shade here, but yeah, I think they're a full sun.
I managed to get one going, and it's a white one, and it's like partial. But these are bigger, and boy, are those pretty. That's actually a digitalis, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and I really should do a better job of cutting, some of this stuff out just to keep it blooming. But once again, the color is there.
Oh, look at, you've got this kind of a red color over here too. Boy, is that pretty. With all those little polka dots in it, I think those are gorgeous. And they will come back, but they're hard to grow from seed. At least for me. Maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. These are all transplants, so I didn't start
Did
them.
you start these from seed?
I did not, no.
Yeah, they are hard. I've had not a lot of luck. Not that I'm the world's greatest gardener, but I just have not had luck growing them from seed. Very little luck. But they're beautiful. I think they're fascinating flowers. With the little polka dots inside of them.
That's a sunflower that seeded itself. You can see it's in the middle of the row. And usually when I have sunflowers in the spring that are growing, I'll let them go because they bloom sooner than the ones I planted.
Yeah.
And it just helps us get a start.
Well, my garden is full of volunteer sunflowers every year. I have to pull them out. I have so many.
I think here's some of the red ones. They're just starting to open.
Have you ever seen the Mexican sunflowers that are an orange, a bright orange color?
Yeah.
Those are pretty too. That red is pretty.
Yeah.
So if you planted that, do you think you would come back that color, or would it eventually turn to whatever the...
Yeah, I think it would. You'd get a mix of something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like when they, when they modify things, lots of times after a while they revert to whatever they were originally.
Yeah. This is delphiniums that I planted from seed this year. There's supposed to be a shorter variety. That doesn't look very short right there, but my hope is to be able to use them for bouquets and arrangements.
That's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah. They had a tough time getting started in the spring because I had such a slug problem.
Oh, I think everybody has.
Yeah, they're coming along.
And this is right here.
That's a status again.
That's more status.
Yeah, I had an extra one and a hole to fill, so I just plopped it in there.
It looks taller than the other ones or something. Maybe it's just me. Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, the snapdragons.
Yeah, snapdragons are fun.
They keep blooming all year. I keep the done ones clipped.
Dead-headed?
Yeah, and then, we'll get some really nice, like, this is what I would pick for the market on Saturday because it hasn't quite started opening yet. So they're easy to transport, not quite as fragile.
Yeah.
So.
They are pretty, and they come in all different colors, don't they?
Yeah.
Huh. And over here you had iris, huh?
No, this was more glads.
Oh,
this was my first crop. Yeah, so they're pretty much done.
Yeah.
I forgot to put the netting up for them, so they got kind of tipsy. But I try to use this on things that need the support.
And that's just a plain netting, huh?
Yeah,
it comes in a roll?
It comes in a roll, yeah. And you can get it any length and any width.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
It keeps things upright anyway.
Yeah, some things need more support than others, so.
And this you said was broom corn?
Broom corn, yes. And I just grow a little clump of it because, once again, for our flowers, we like the smaller ones, but we cut these and we'll dry them. And have them for like fall decorations.
So is this what they actually used to make brooms out of?
I think it is, because it's very coarse, like those brooms.
Yeah, the old-fashioned ones.
Yeah.
I suppose they let it dry.
Yeah, yep.
It doesn't get an ear?
I've never seen an ear, no.
Huh.
Yeah, no, because that is the seed up there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, look how tall that is.
Yeah.
Too. My goodness, that got big. And all the different colors of snapdragons.
Yeah.
Wow. And they kind of like a lot of sun, don't they?
I think they do, yeah. This is the first time I've ever had snapdragons.
Oh.
So it was a mix. Next year I might maybe try to pick just a few colors. Like the whites are really nice, very versatile.
Oh, this
But the time of the year too, the yellows go really nice right away in the summer and the spring. And
this is kind of a hot pink. That's pretty.
But I see a little bit of orangish in there too. So, this one,
Right, that's orange.
So you can, mix and match them with the yellows and the reds and.
Yeah.
But those whites are really nice.
Do you ever do flowers for special occasions?
Well, we've done a couple of weddings for Susan's children.
Uh-huh.
We've done where people wanted flowers for bridal showers. We've also done where a florist bought tons of flowers for the arrangements that she was putting
Oh.
together. So we've done a lot of work with
Yeah. Well, that's
Barb
cool.
Nelson.
And where is she out of?
She's out of Independence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Bees like the snapdragons, don't
Yeah.
they? The interesting thing about, the bumblebees is because they're bigger and their tongue is bigger, they can get down into some of the plants that the smaller bees can't.
Sure.
Come on, here you go. Okay. And then
This is a Dusty Miller, and you've probably seen that in people put it in pots, but this is a taller variety. Once again, we try to grow it for a filler, or add interest to bouquets.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get a flower, does it?
No,
No.
it's just for the leaves.
Yeah. Dusty Miller, they call
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it is.
Yep.
It's really different looking, isn't it? You got some little stuff coming up here.
Yeah, this is actually stuff I had planted. This is, I think it's called Corinth, C-E-R-I-N-T-H-E. And it was the first time we had planted it. Susan had some as well, and we didn't like it. It didn't hold up as well in the flower bouquets. So I ended up pulling it, but it had since reseeded itself. So I'm not worried. I think, the cold will kill it.
Well, these are the complicated ones here, I always think. With
Yeah,
all the swirls and
yeah, it's an amaranth.
yeah. Which is actually a wild grain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
I know mine reseeds itself really easily.
Yeah. And I've had ones that are really tall and get, big shoots on it. They usually reseed themselves. I don't have any this year, but this is the kind of stuff we wish we could have into the fall, but it doesn't, it gets to a certain point and it will start.
They
just
call
dying.
this coxcomb.
That's
don't they?
coxcomb, yes. Or it's a celosia.
Yeah, I always think that is really pretty.
Yeah.
It's really dramatic.
Yeah,
isn't
and
it?
they get really big. Mine has been cut, but I've been letting these ones go a little bit to get a little bit more size on them.
And they're not hard to grow.
No.
No, they're pretty easy, really.
Yeah. This is a celosia,
Uh-huh.
same as that coxcomb, but
yeah,
it
a little different.
Yeah, this is grown more for the leaf. It just gets a little head.
And then you got the
Ageratum.
I always think of that as being something that comes really early.
I don't know. I
Not
keep it cut. If I
necessarily, huh?
keep it cut, I've been lax over here, but over here, it's got some really nice stems. And this is something that I think I should try and actually maybe do a second planting of, maybe 1st of July.
Yeah.
'Cause the bees like this.
Yeah, I guess so. What have you got coming up here? More status?
This was actually called, what is it? It's almost like a straw flower.
Oh.
It opens up, it's really papery,
Yeah.
we like it for drying. It didn't like the wet, so most of the plants have been pulled and gotten rid of because they were just struggling.
Uh-huh.
So over on this side, we kind of walk past these. This is feverfew. And I've got,
Feverfew,
yeah, and I've been cutting this all summer, and it just sends up new shoots, and it dries really nicely. And there's a yellow variety over here. It almost looks like a mum, but once again, it dries really
it gets those
nicely.
little tiny blossoms, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it must be first cousin to a mum, wouldn't you think?
It could be.
Yeah.
I was looking at it online. And it says it's a tender perennial. Mine came through the winter last year like it never has.
Yeah, but it was a pretty easy winter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And when I put my garden to bed in the winter, after everything is cleaned out, I get a load of compost from over by Wamandee, top dress the whole thing, and then I seed it down with rye.
Oh, okay.
And you can
Yeah.
still see there's a few
Sure.
lingering here.
Yep.
And then as I'm planting in the spring, you know, by then the rye is up to here and it's
Yeah.
green. I pull that out and just plant my stuff and then lay it back down, and it kind of gives me a mulch
Oh, that's interesting.
to control the
Yeah.
weeds.
Yeah, that's
I can
interesting.
see a little bit, you know, this is a little bit of
Uh-huh.
it right there. So
And what is this?
that's a celosia also. It's just
Oh,
a
it
little
is?
different
Well, that's
looking
real
color
different,
and
isn't
head.
it?
Yeah, so there's a little hot pink thing in there. Oh,
Huh.
look at that, yeah. Cute.
Yeah, that one's really different, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, I think these coxcombs are they're just really complicated.
Yeah, they look really cool, yeah.
They're really different.
So this is all my flowers. Like I said, I do a little bit of my garden per
Yeah.
se, but this is on the straw bales here is where I really do my garden, which isn't big. I mean, I don't have a lot, just cucumbers and tomatoes and peppers essentially. My cucumbers are pretty much done.
So you're doing the straw bale,
Yes.
and I tried it once. It seemed like all I was doing was watering it.
It does need water practically
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
I do have a irrigation system. I don't have it on there right now, but I have this drip tape that runs all my rows, and I have it for that.
Uh-huh.
I didn't
okay.
use it this year because it's been good.
Yeah.
And I've got a hose right there, so if I do feel my straws need water, I'll hit it real quick. But other people have talked about blight.
Yeah.
I mean, look at my tomato.
Yeah, mine look terrible this year, but
And-
yours look really healthy.
And what they say is that, you know, because whatever causes the blight is
Yeah,
in the soil, and so
right.
when it rains, it splashes up onto the
Yeah,
leaves and hits
yeah.
the tomatoes. Well, this is all virgin,
Sure.
so I mean, I put a little bit of potting soil just to fill the hole
Yeah.
in when I'm transplanting, but really, it's growing in the straw.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I tried it and things grew. I see it's something you got to really experiment with,
Yeah.
but it was a lot of watering.
When I pick up these bales after they're done for the year, they go in that last area.
Oh, okay.
And then in the
cucumbers.
yeah,
There's a big one, huh?
in the spring, this is where I plant my potatoes. So you can see there's some laying here.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
so when it's time to plant my potatoes, you know, the straw might be up to
Yeah.
here at the time. You know, I just go in as deep as I can, and that's my potatoes, and they come out clean
Yeah.
and nicely shaped. You know, because they're not getting the pressure of my soil is really clayey, so
Yeah.
it's hard for some things to grow well.
Yeah. Now, do you plant on Good Friday, your potatoes?
I always think about it. I don't know if I've ever actually done it.
Because some people say you have to plant
Yeah.
those potatoes on Good Friday. So.
If it's late Good Friday, then yeah, maybe, but sometimes it's so early that
You're moving the snow.
yeah. And there's been years when I dig down to put my hand to the bottom to put the potato chunk in there that it's still frozen
Oh, yeah.
underneath, but they grew and
Potatoes
did
are
fine.
tough. I mean,
Yeah.
they came from up in the mountains in Peru. You know, that was where they first came from.
Yeah.
So maybe they're tougher than we give them credit for.
Mm-hmm.
So this is basically your flower garden here.
Yes. I mean, I've got perennials. We've got other stuff growing on, like at the end of the garage over here.
Uh-huh.
I've got some winterberry growing. That's like
You can walk over there.
it's a bush that gets really
Winterberry.
red berries in it, you know, after it drops its leaves.
Yeah.
So that is I don't know if I've had it in the ground a couple years now, so it's still coming along. And then I've also planted in here some thornless raspberries.
Thornless, huh?
Yeah, so we can use that, and that's once again mostly for the foliage. But I've got to keep a deer fence on it because
Yeah.
they wouldn't leave it alone.
No.
So you can start seeing some of over here, look at this, the red berries on this one. You know, so that's like a Christmas kind of a thing.
Uh-huh.
that we would, I think it's related to holly. It's a,
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
yeah.
And what have you got down here?
And that's
These
just more of the
bushes?
same.
Uh-huh.
I had those 2 bushes first, and then I bought a few more. So these are a little bit younger, not quite as far along.
And there you got catnip, right?
Yes.
Does your cat come down and roll in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do like that. Huh. So what kind of livestock do you have? I see you got ponies.
Yeah, those are miniatures.
Minis, okay.
And we've got 1 boar. I can hear him. I think he's up by the barn.
That's a
up top.
sheep.
It's a
goat.
A goat,
A
yes.
goat, okay.
We started out when my daughter was younger with pygmies.
The little goats.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
almost impossible to keep in a fence.
Yeah.
And then she got a dairy goat, so we had a few dairy goats for a while, and then eventually we got a pair of boar kids. We only have the one left. He's all by himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have 4 of the minis.
I see 3.
Yeah, I don't know where the other one might be, still behind the barn.
Well, that's enough to keep you busy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And your house is new, and is it standing where the old house was?
No, the old
No?
house was exactly where my flower garden is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I see some of my favorites up here, the cosmos.
Yeah, those actually, we planted those last year and they reseeded themselves
Yep, they
this
do
year.
reseed.
Yeah.
Quite easily, I've found. And then up there on the side of your house, up there, the bush with the big pink flowers.
It's a hydrangea, yeah.
That's different. My hydrangea is white, and the blossoms are a little flatter than those.
I've got over by the mailbox, that's a hydrangea, but it gets real red right away.
Oh, huh.
And then
Oh,
I've
yeah.
got the traditional snowball one.
Yeah, that's, I think, what I have.
Yeah, Les's mom
old.
had him growing alongside the house.
Yeah.
When it was here, and when we moved it, I took cuttings of it and seeded or rooted it.
Oh, you got it to root. Oh,
Yeah.
That's cool.
I've got one here, and I gave one to, Les's sister Betty.
Because I've got the snowball, the old-fashioned one. It was
Yeah.
my grandmother's, and then my mom had it, and then I got some of it. But now people are really getting into hydrangeas.
Yes, they come in every shape and size.
Yeah.
Because there's another one over on the far side that gets, really long
Oh, really?
flower heads.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, look at the bumblebee going to town there on the
Yeah.
Cosmo. You never know what they're going to like.
I haven't had much problem with Japanese beetle, but I've
Yeah?
seen more today than...
I've had something that's been chomping on my hostas this year. Just, I've never had a problem before, and they just are riddled this year.
This bed is full of hostas, but you can't see them because the deer have chomped them down.
Well, I know they like them, don't
Yeah,
they?
I mean, this one is supposed to be 4 feet tall, and it's...
Yeah. Yeah, who'd have thunk that deer would like to eat hostas, but
Yeah.
they certainly do.
Yeah.
They just... I
Even
don't
my
know.
hollyhocks, you can see where they've chomped the leaves
Yeah.
off. I tried to spray, these didn't bloom this year because I just planted them, but they
Right.
will next year, so I'm trying to get them to...
No, hollyhocks, that's an old-fashioned
Yeah.
flower. Everybody used to grow them around their
Yeah.
milk houses,
Yes.
I recall.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but...
They, once you planted them, they were there forever.
Yeah.
It seemed like they easily reseeded.
Yep, and maybe it was because you could have them up against the wall of the milk house, because they do seem to like support if they get pretty big. Do you know what this is called? Because I've got
This is more of the, it's a sedum. I think it's like a
Yeah.
Jameson,
Oh, it is
something like
pretty.
that. Yeah. It's got
And
some
it does
leaves.
like water. Boy, this
Yeah.
year with all the rain, it was very happy.
Yeah.
And what have you got here, a squash or?
No, this is another hollyhock.
Oh, it is? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Just a few more up in this.
Uh-huh.
This was a little leaf linden, and one of the storms we had in June or July, it must have been May or early June, the whole tree went down, landed on our deck, took out, that's a new pergola, so it took out the pergola, which I
Yeah.
think saved the deck. So, but the Japanese beetles swarm this. I mean, they just love the little leaf linden, so I guess I'm probably not too sad to see it go if it
Yeah.
takes the Japanese beetles with it.
That's too bad because, well, we
Yeah.
call it basswood.
Yeah,
I've got basswood trees that are lovely trees, I think.
Yeah.
You know, they have that blossom with a
yes.
nice
Yep.
scent.
They really did have a
Yep,
nice smell.
and the
Yeah, and the
bees
whole
love
tree
them.
would buzz. Yep.
Yes, the bees just go crazy. They make a very nice honey from basswood.
Oh.
But if you go to Europe, they use basswoods a lot for, you know, in boulevards and things like
Yeah.
that. That is their go-to tree.
Yeah.
But they are pretty trees.
Yeah. And it was just getting to be the right height to give us some really nice shade.
Yeah. Well, we've had some storms this year.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have had things go down. It's just what happens.
All my plants, usually I like to have planters out by the garages and in front, but the deer wouldn't leave them alone, so I moved everything up on my deck.
Yeah.
Easier to water that way, but yeah, it's,
You just do what you have to with
Yeah.
this deer population.
yeah. Yeah, they're not shy.
So do you have deer hunters in the family?
Yes.
That's
yeah.
good. That probably makes a big dent in the population, but
I hope so.
I always think it could be worse. We could have feral pigs.
Oh, yeah.
They're really bad. Well, this is enough to keep you busy, isn't it?
Yes, it is, for sure.
So what kind of oriental grass do you have there?
This is a Carl Forster, very common grass.
Carl Forster.
Yeah, it probably needs to be divided. I've got a few more that got moved down along that fence, but yeah, it's pretty. I've got a few more little ones up on the thing, but up by my garage. But yeah, this is.
And this down here is your potting shed, I take it?
Yeah, my garden shed.
That's nice.
Right away in the spring when I start my stuff, I started in the basement. Like I said, I have grow lights.
Yeah.
And then once they get to the point where I can transplant them into a little bit bigger pot, they'll come out here. And I run just a little milk house heater, you know, so it doesn't freeze
Yeah.
at night. And in the summer now, I just use it for storage. You know, it gets filled with all my
nice.
stuff. Yeah.
A she shed.
Yeah.
And you've got some real different colors of cosmos. Besides the pink, you've got some bright colors over there.
Yeah, some real pink ones.
Oh, aren't those pretty? That is a bright color.
Mm-hmm.
And they're easy to grow. You know,
Yes.
people that
Yeah, I see
want to
them
grow flowers, they're easy.
growing in the grass even.
Yeah.
So it's,
Oh, and you've got like a red, right here, red mum.
I had that growing in a pot all summer, and so I
Yeah.
thought, well, I gotta get in the ground because it just needed to be watered every day, and I thought it would do better.
Well, it's still alive.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. The deer haven't gotten it yet.
And what's growing up the little windmill here?
This is a moonflower, which I think is a
Oh.
type of morning glory.
Right.
When I originally planted, I had 3 plants in it, but the deer took 2. And then the third one was doing okay, but then we had one of those windstorms and it knocked this thing down
Yeah.
and took most of the plant with it, but it grew up again from its roots. I'm still waiting for it to blossom. I'm starting to finally see buds in there.
Yeah.
But I just, every day, I thought, it's, you know, on
Well,
borrowed time.
I think it's one of those real late bloomers.
Yeah.
I saw a pretty one down by Pine Creek and it was just starting to bloom. So
Okay.
maybe this one is right on time. But they get the big white blossoms.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
they are pretty.
They're supposed to come out in the afternoon.
Uh-huh. Then why did they call it moonflower?
Yeah.
They should be calling it
Yeah.
afternoon flower, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, you got enough to keep you busy. And before we end this, I just have to put in a plug for spirea because they are pretty and they're
Yeah.
really pretty darn easy. They're not real picky about where you plant them.
Yeah. No. And yeah, this gets a really nice chartreuse color,
Uh-huh.
you know, when it first comes out.
That's the old-fashioned, I think.
Yeah. And I do have an old-fashioned spirea, you know, like the bridal wreath. That's
Yeah.
this big one right here at the end.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
sure. They are related, aren't they?
Yeah.
But the spirea, you can, you can trim them, whereas bridal wreath doesn't
Yeah, if you
like
were
to
going
be
to
trimmed.
trim a bridal wreath, you'd want to do it right after it gets done blooming.
Yeah.
Because it sets its blooms right away for the next year already. But
Yep, lots of fun things. Well, the next thing you know, everything will be dead and cold and frozen maybe. But it's fun to have it now. Beautiful. Do you have any problems getting your glads through the winter?
not
No?
the glads at all.
Yeah, they're pretty easy.
Yeah, like I said, I have a shoebox. I dust them with a little bit of powder just to make sure that they're not carrying any bugs on them, but they just sit in that shoebox. And like I said, I planted 3 crops of them. The first crop, I just took the biggest ones that looked like they were kind of sprouting already, and then the second one, I did the same thing 2 weeks later, and then finally I go, I got to get the rest of these in the ground, so I just planted everything, and by then everything was greening up or starting to show buds. So.
Well, this was the full tour. Thank you, Julie. And if people want to get flowers from you, they should go to what, Independence Farmers Market?
Right, and we're also on Facebook, you know, and if you reach out to us there, like you said, we will do flower either arrangements or we do buckets of flowers, if you want to do your own arranging. But
so it'd be Farmhouse Flowers
- Anderson Sisters.
Okay, I can remember that. All right, thank you.
Thank you.